Lozenge Camouflage. This is a type of camouflage used by Austria-Hungary and Germany in the last 2 years of World War I. It was primarily used by the Imperial German Luftstreitkräfte, or German air combat forces. Lozenge is another word for a rhombus or diamond shape, which defines this camouflage. Lozenge camouflage was developed as a way to conceal aircraft both on the ground and in the air. The camouflage was printed on fabric, then applied to aircraft. This saved weight versus directly painting on camouflage. Fabric was produced by numerous textile factories, with many variants. Polygons, for example, could be 4, 5, or 6-sided, and colors varied significantly. Aircraft factories and aircraft in the field would receive bolts of fabric to cover their aircraft as they saw fit. Some aircraft had fabric applied diagonally, but most aircraft were wrapped cordwise around the wings. On ailerons, fabric was laid spanwise. The material was made of linen and of course could easily be damaged, so repairs might use different fabrics, making for even more distinct patterns. Despite lozenge camouflage being loud and obvious up close, it does work. The camouflage works by disrupting the familiar pattern of an aircraft, which makes it harder to notice or recognize from a distance. Pilots instinctively know the familiar shape and lines of an aircraft, but if an aircraft has hundreds of lines and irregular patterns, it can blend into the irregular lines of nature from a distance. The alternating colors and shades further represent what is natural in a landscape, or even skyscape, compared to more monolithic paint schemes. Lozenge camouflage was inspired by an impressionist art technique called pointillism, a technique where neighboring bits of color blend with one another as an observer moves away from the painting. Likewise, a German aircraft with lozenge camouflage would blend into the surrounding sky or ground. Similar camouflage is used today, accomplishing the same effect. With lozenge camouflage, both color and shape are equally important. Darker patterns could be applied to the upper sections of an aircraft to better blend with the ground, while lighter patterns could be applied to the undersides of an aircraft to blend with the sky. Aircraft could further be hand-painted according to their surroundings and objectives, be them for day or nighttime use. Some aircraft were directly painted and not wrapped in camo fabric, if they had a monocoque fuselage, for example. Similar camouflage was also used by German infantry in the field. Many soldiers painted their own patterns on their helmets, which was supported with a directive issued in the last year of the war for troops to start painting their helmets in 3 separate dull colors. Many reproductions have clouded how this may have looked, but it could have been done in many styles, including those similar to aircraft camouflage. While camouflage was becoming more popular with troops on the ground at the end of the war, lozenge camouflage wasn't always popular with pilots in the air. For World War I pilots, it was essential to be able to identify friend from foe. Therefore, it was important to have the cross pate insignia visible on the wings. You can see it here over top of lozenge camouflage on the wings of a captured German aircraft on parade in London in 1918. The Luftstreitkräfte cross pate insignia evolved during the war, starting with the bolder design, then transitioning to a more narrow design in 1916, followed by the basic Balkenkreuz in early April of 1918. Besides large insignia disrupting the camouflage, pilots still individually painted their aircraft to distinguish themselves from their squadron mates, a tradition that was fiercely loved by pilots during the war, which pilots were not going to give up for camouflage. This spoke to the boldness of pilots in a profession that required guts. Pilots averaged a lifespan of 40 to 60 hours of flying time during the war. The end visual product for this boldness was a mix of insignia, camouflage, and custom paintwork, which made for some spectacular displays during World War I. Alright, I'm Johnny, thank you for watching. Hopefully now you know why a lozenge might not just soothe your throat, but also save your neck. Anyway, do take care, and have a nice rest of your day.